continuation of our session in which we have Mr. Andrew. This is a session number 2, and we have Mr. Andrew who's here and as an expert who's going to guide us that what exactly, if you're looking for an investment into real estate, if you want to come as an immigrant to this country, and then as an immigrant, or you want to invest as a local resident, what are the different aspects of investment as into the real estate you should look for. So it's going to generally touch on all the different aspects, and we can funnel out into locally in Kansas how it's going to go. So Mr. Andrew is going to continue with that. So Mr. Andrew, as an immigrant, I'm speaking that, if you spend $800,000, you can become a citizen of USA. So that's a big thing for our, for generally speaking, for immigrants, and especially people who have never been to USA and they're really looking into get the citizenship. So this is one thing which I would really emphasize on, that, Andrea is going to guide us that, what are the different investment options we can look into. So Andrea, before I, take more time, what are the different categories which, as an investor, if I'm looking into investment options, what are the different areas and categories I can look into?
Right, so just like before, there's 2 broad spectrums that you can invest into. Number 1 is the commercial space, and that's, like we said, that's offices, warehouses. These investments they require a lot more money, but there's a few positives where, the rent prices are higher. Your tenants, they're gonna stay in that building for a lot longer, and the building is gonna appreciate at a higher rate. But like I said, it's a much higher price point to enter into. Then there's also, in the residential side, there's single family homes, there's duplexes, triplexes, and these buildings that have 2 or 3 units in it that are a lot more manageable for someone maybe investing for the first time. I absolutely recommend that everyone look into residential first. It's a lot easier, it's a little less stressful, and it's more manageable, especially for some of the audience who's, maybe abroad or not even in the country. So residential single family homes or duplexes, I think would be much easier to maintain.
Okay, so generally speaking, so what you're recommending is, so the highest ROI, if I look at the general market right now in the industry, so the highest ROI is in the housing, you're saying?
It's in commercial.
It's in the commercial.
Yeah.
Okay.
So similar to like an office building, a company's going to move in there and they're going to stay there for 7, 8, 9 years, and they don't need as much, management. You're not going to need to check up on them as much, and they're just going to run their business. And as they continue to grow their business, their rent and their lease price goes up. So it's a long-term tenant, and you don't have to manage them as much.
Okay, so generally speaking, so you're recommending that, this is the aspect, this is the segment you should focus on. Okay, so if I'm looking for a certain building or a house or something, so what are the different key pointers we should look at? Should we get a house which is in a older area and like a new house? Or should we look at the new, new locality and a totally average-looking house? Okay. What are the different pointers we should look at if you're especially investing?
So for investing, area is an extremely important part, because the area is what's going to set your rental prices of your tenants. So if you're going to be buying maybe a cheaper building in a worse part of town, not only are you going to have lower rent prices, but you're also going to have tenants who maybe aren't as qualified and aren't as great as a high-end renter. So if you're going to buy in a bad area at a lower price, you can expect to have to manage them a little bit more. Maybe you're dealing with more repairs of the house because it's older. Whereas I personally, for my company, we invest in duplexes in nicer areas that are almost new. And when the building is almost new, not only are you getting better renters who always make payments, who are more qualified, but you're also not having to make maintenance on the house because the house is brand new, so you don't need to make repairs or maintenance very often. So
Okay, like realistically, if I invest into, I want to get the citizenship, or I want to invest into especially property, I should just get a house which is in a special good location,
Right.
and then okay, if I get that, and then what I can do is I can get that, and then I can rent it out. And then when because the market is changing every day,
Every day.
so the mortgage rates are different. The industry is such a volatile right now. So speaking of that, I can then when the property market is at a good on my side, then I can just sell it for a good price, and I can rent it out when the market is not in my favor for
Exactly.
selling. So that's a very good option which you discussed. So my next question is, what are the different financing options? Like, what should we look at? Like, what if we want financing options?
So for foreign investors, you're a little bit limited because you won't be living at the home as your primary residence. The recommendation that I do is that you get a conventional loan, and this is going to be, about, for a foreign investor, you're going to be about 20 to 25% down, but it's the easiest to qualify for, and it's one that goes across the borders from, foreign countries into the US. So a conventional loan is what I recommend is the best option.
Okay, so conventional loans we should be looking at, and then generally speaking, what are the different regulations which are like, for example, if I'm a resident here, and what are the first time, like the incentives the first time home buyers get, or if what are the different I would say perks which I can get as a first time home buyer, or incentive, I would say.
So as a first-time home buyer, a lot of times there will be programs through the city and the state that will give you grant money to help you cover the down payment a little bit, because they want first-time home buyers to pay as little out of pocket as possible. They want you to put down as little money as possible, so it's easier for you to get your first house.
Okay.
Not only that, but not just first home buyers, but all people across the US, you can use your mortgage interest tax, your property taxes, all these things you can write off on your tax bill at the end of the year. So it allows you to save money that way as well.
Okay, so speaking of the industry right now, the market right now, you know very well that what are you experiencing, the mortgage rates and all. Can you discuss like what's the current scenario, and then what future you're looking at, and what are the emerging trends which the real estate market is going to get?
Right. So the future, what I predict is there's going to be a lot more businesses buying up single family homes, duplexes, and really anything they can get their hands on. You can see from giant corporations like BlackRock and all these places across the US where they're going out and buying hundreds of thousands of single family homes, and then they're turning those into rentals. So I think it's best to get a home while you can, because these large corporations are coming in and they're buying a lot of houses so that they make money on the monthly income, they make money on the appreciation of the house, and they are the ones who are trying to buy up all the properties in the US. As far as the current market right now, we're sitting at about a 7% interest rate, which isn't too high, isn't too low. So we're kind of in a good area to buy and to sell. But I see in the future that interest rates are going to go down. Last year, we had a really tough year where they were going up and up and up. Now they come down a little bit. And all the experts in the mortgage industry expect them to continue to come down over the next few years to around that 5% area.
Okay, so just an average, if I'm making an average income, generally speaking, and I'm a resident here, what are the different, should I rent it, rent a property, or should I go for a condo, or should I go for a townhouse, single family home? What is your personal suggestion, as if I'm making an average income in USA? What do you suggest that I should go for with a market like this?
Right. It all depends on your goals. So if you want to do a single family home and you just want to have one tenant, it won't take up very much time, it won't take up very much energy or money, and it's just a little bit easier with your schedule. But if you want to buy something like a fourplex where you have 4 different families living there, it's going to cost more money, it'll take more of your time, it's more stressful. but the payout is a lot more the more tenants and the bigger of the building you get. So I think if you're just getting into it, I highly recommend doing something that's easy, simple, small. Don't jump in too deep. You don't want to get in over your head right off the bat. Begin, see if you're good at it, see if you like it, see if the financial gain is worth it, and then continue to grow from there.
Okay. If I'm sitting in a different part of the world and I would like to, call you and would like to invest, then what's the process and what are my different steps I should be taking before I can even invest?
Before you can even invest, the most important thing after you've reached out to me, I will connect them with a local lender or a bank. And then once they get pre-approved and that process is all completed, you're pretty much done, because the pre-approval process, the financials for a foreign investor is the most difficult part. You have to usually have more down payment, you have to have better qualifications, because they want to ensure that the money coming in is good, you can afford it, everything's good. So once you're pre-approved, we'll begin looking at your house, you'll go under contract, and then we'll just go from there.
Okay. So what is your personal advice, as your experience says that, if, I have maybe, 500,000 down payment, or the minimum is 800,000.
Yeah.
But let's suppose if I have, what options should I consider, and, what is your personal advice that I should do?
As far as what kind of property you'd like to buy?
Yeah.
So there's two ways you can go about that with that large of a down payment. One, you can buy a house in all cash and not have any monthly payment, and everything you're doing is just monthly income every single month. Or if you want to buy a more expensive property, you can do half cash, half financing. But I recommend, like I said, is maybe a duplex or a single family home, something that's easy for them to maintain, and then get a feel for the process. So something small, just like a regular home. They can maybe vacation to it if they like. They can rent it out if they like. If you do just a single family home, you have options to what you'd like to do.
Yeah. So I just want to tell my viewers that this is one of the most smartest. A lot of people ask me in USA, in Pakistan, the immigrants especially, that if I have to get a citizenship or I have to get a home, what are the different processes? Like what should we do? So he explained it well. So you can contact us and you can contact Mr. Andrew. But this is the first step. If you have any questions or any queries, you can pretty much go to the number and just dial Mr. Andrew. But it's a very easy process. A lot of people get drowned in what will happen, and we don't trust certain people. If I don't know personally somebody, I won't be able to do it, and they spend half of their lives thinking on the different things that what should be our first step to do that. But USA is a very good market. First of all, there is a big benefit that you as a foreigner, you can also buy a house in USA. Then there is another incentive on top of that you can get a citizenship on top of that if you invest 800,000. On top of that, you have some reliable property real estate agents like Andrew, or which you can trust, and you can directly call them and ask them that if you can invest into certain options which have highest ROI. So it's like the best of the both worlds. You can not only get your citizenship and get all these different good things, you can also invest into your money, and your money can grow, and you can make not only from the rental income, you can also you're building into the equity, so the prices are going to go up. So that's what you're making, an investment, a safe asset, equity, which will go for a long time. So if you have any questions or any queries or comments, please do give us. And this is our second session, and we will have another session. If you have any questions, you can directly call us, but we would love to hear from you. Thank you so much, and thank you, Andrew, for coming to our show. And we would love to continue these sessions and all. And if you have any advice before you leave, any takeaway from for the viewers, you can give it to us right now.
Yeah, so I did want to mention one last thing, that I mentioned a lot of stuff where you're managing the tenants and you have to make repairs, and a lot of that is stressful, especially if you're across the border. but you can hire here locally property managers, and they will take care of everything day to day. So you just have to invest your money, let it grow, and the property manager that you hire, they can take care of all the day-to-day stuff and make sure that your investment is protected. I have no further things. I want to thank you guys for having me again. You can email us, text me, give me a call, whatever you'd like, and we're happy to help.
Okay, thank you so much.